We are armed. We are recording.
All right.
But I need to have my video recording. That's important.
Yes, my video is also recording.
I am live.
There we go. And we're live. It's okay. I got a few surprises for you this week too.
Mine's not coming for another week.
Oh,
or maybe two. It depends on when
ready?
I get to. We're live.
all
bro.
right. Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, episode 21. We are your hosts, the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And this week on the Elk Season Podcast.
Oh my gosh. There are so many headlines. We've got
busy week.
I think we've talked about this before. Don't approach wildlife.
Yeah.
If they're alive. Because I mean, it is a hunting podcast.
Yeah,
if it's dead, you should approach it because you need to retrieve it, ethically remove it.
Poke it in the eye. Remember that.
Yeah, and lion problems. Lion problems is all I'm going to say there. More pika. Peekaboo.
Yeah.
Peekaboo. It's crazy. Don't think about this animal ever in my life until you see one. You're like, it's a lost species of the...
Well, yeah, and then we saw it last summer, last August, and I didn't know anything about it. It was just in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And then, hey, there it is again. Okay.
Yeah. Wolves... I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever's in the audience...
if anyone.
Children, adults, everyone, just know wolves exist. So we're going to come to some wolf stories.
Wolves exist.
We have a bear of problems. I know
Yeah.
a bear of a problem, but it's a bear of problems.
Yeah.
Another Wolverine sequel?
Yeah.
Really? Elk make it into our conservation
Into the Elk
news.
Season Podcast? How did that?
I know, right?
I know.
How did we get the rights for another Wolverine sequel for this podcast? We've got to be insane.
We're lucky. We're lucky.
Very lucky.
I know Hugh Jackman.
It was a stroke of luck. Stroke of luck, really. Professor X really was my friend in that. Anyway, elk. We actually have elk in the podcast.
Elk, even.
Water. That's
Important.
been an important thing. It's been kind of an interesting year here in Idaho.
Really
with water.
interesting.
Last week, bear no other weeks. It was continued the interest, really.
Yeah.
And this weekend, yay! More water. Venomous creatures.
Yeah.
And so a quick
They're all
story out of
over
there.
the West. There are dangers out there. There are mountain lions, there are bears, there are rattlesnakes, and there are other venomous creatures. And I'm not even talking about spiders.
Yeah.
There are more venomous creatures out there you need to watch out for.
Venom exists.
Venom is real.
Star Wars binoculars. That's
Yeah,
all I'm going to say. It's really kind of a loose thread, but
Kinda.
that's all I could think when I
Let's
saw
say The Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back
Yeah.
binoculars.
Yeah.
A Star Wars story. Okay. Lit Knox.
Lit Knox. And Lit Knox.
And Lit Knox.
Say Lit Knox 10 times.
But Lit Knox is not a story so
Lit
much
Knox.
as it's something we're going to talk about at the end. So
Lit Knox is my stripper name. Now that you think about it, you go, well, okay.
what I'm
All
not
right.
going to understand.
I've got a few things to just out
first
myself
office
on.
announcements, yeah.
First office announcement. I did watch some elk content
You did.
on YouTube. Yeah, I love watching elk content. I love watching hunting content. And I told you about a guy I hunt a mule deer with a rifle.
Hunting mule deer with a rifle. I've done one time actually.
I have done many times.
I've hunted whitetail one time with you.
Yeah.
In 1994.
Yeah.
And then mule deer with a rifle.
That's right.
2015.
Yeah. No. We hunted mule deer.
It was-
out by Riley's bar. Those were all muleys, I think.
Those were whitetail. I'm confident they were whitetail.
They were muleys.
Whitetail.
Okay.
Let's agree to disagree. Whitetail.
That high in the mountains, they're going to be muleys. Down in the river country, they were whitetails.
But-
Over in Lincoln, they were whitetails. But
I don't know. It seemed like the
Okay.
prominent species in Montana is whitetail.
it may be, but it's not prominent in that country. That's some steep, high country. Well, I do see whitetails in the high country, but not in the rocks.
Here's where we have to take the argument.
Okay,
because you have to tell your story. But here's what we need to do is just kind of call out. I was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So my memory is limited.
Yeah.
And I get that.
We hunted whitetail a lot in Lincoln.
And it could be, I could have interferences.
Yeah, down in the river country.
But it just seemed like
in Lincoln.
The memory I have of how the antlers were shaped is what strikes me as whitetail.
I know.
So that, to me...
But he was so far away, and the binoculars we had sucked so bad.
Yeah, they
were terrible. We got good glass now.
We got better glass. We have glass. Well, I spent
$400 on binoculars. That's a lot to me.
And if you're the person who spends like $2,000 on binoculars, this is not the story for you.
But if you're the type of guy who used to spend $35 on a garage sale on binoculars, this $400
could break the bank.
Are awesome. I know. I got some Vortex. Yeah. I love them, man.
I've got a Vortex offshoot called Alpine or Alpine.
Alpine. Yeah.
I think it's Alpine. There's no E at the end. Either way, I love them. They were inexpensive, but they weren't cheap. But they've been consistent, and that's the thing that we always lacked in a good binocular before you got your Vortex. And I love Vortex.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I like them. So this week, let me tell you what I've been through this week.
Please.
First of all, my wife left town for a few days to go to a CrossFit competition where she was a judge.
Okay,
but it's over Labor Day weekend, so I'm like, woo, we're going to party, right? We're going fishing. I'm dragging the kids out. We're doing it. Freaking rained. It
was
so
cold. Weekend.
It sucked. It was windy on Saturday.
So to be
so windy.
To be true to my nature and consistent with things I've said, I saw the rain coming and I turned my sprinklers off. And you know what?
Yeah.
Rain is going to happen again this weekend.
It is?
And I have not turned my sprinklers back on.
Oh, good for you. I finally turned my sprinklers on. And then I won't think about it until after September.
Probably. But it's a simple switch.
I had an interesting conversation with my ecology professor when I was in college about the water that we use.
I think I've heard this before.
I don't want to. No,
go ahead.
No, I don't want to. I don't even want to talk about it. I got my sprinkler. My yard is so small. And I've got a ridiculous yard. In fact, that's conscientious on my mind. Like, yeah, I go through. I think more water. Washing dishes. So I have a small yard. So I haven't thought about it. Anyway, so this week, this is what I did do this weekend.
Yes,
I thought, you know what? I want to smoke some ribs.
Oh,
you know how many times I've smoked ribs?
0.
Well, 1 now.
I needed you to qualify that better.
You don't have any idea how much meat I threw away. You can't smoke ribs on a grill. Well, I tried.
You could have called me.
I called you. I have YouTube.
3, 2, 1 method. That's all you need to know.
I've never even heard of that. What is that? Help me out.
You smoke it for 3 hours, but you need to have something.
What temperature?
But it's this. You have to have a smoker, and the smoker it's usually like a.
I had a smoking log and a gas grill.
And
it was a train wreck. It was a train wreck.
And then
it was a train wreck. Right? The wife comes home on Monday.
Yeah.
These things have been grilling for like 5 hours. And I'm like, don't worry.
I've got dinner.
What a train wreck. You're like, if you want me to grill some burgers, I will. Because this is awful. She said no, but I almost grilled myself one. I mean, after you just rip enough flesh off a nice bone.
Tell me how.
Yeah. It was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. Well,
was it a train wreck?
It was just a disaster from beginning to end because like I said, it was cold and windy.
Yeah.
I couldn't maintain a temperature in my gas grill.
Yeah.
Unless I put it in the garage.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't going to do, which I should have done. But I have a canopy and a wall that goes with it. So I set that up to block the grill from the wind.
Yeah.
Didn't really
Not really.
Didn't really help much. So all my smoke pellets burned way too fast because the wind is just whipping through there. It was just a disaster.
It's a good first experience.
Right. And I knew that. And it was 2 racks, man. It was I'm like,
just one.
I can't do this halfway. I'm hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
And all I have is a stupid gas grill. And what do we? I don't cook. My wife doesn't cook. I don't cook. I just don't. It's not something I do.
You don't always have to rely just on the internet. I'm just going to say that you could have called.
I appreciate that. I should have called you.
In the future.
I was excited about telling you what a train wreck it was.
And that's fine too.
Because I knew I wasn't going to take my phone out and go, look at how soft these ribs are and pull a bone out. No, I had to saw through them just to get the ribs separate from each other.
Look, I will be honest.
And then even the dog's looking at me like,
I've had moments trying to smoke things where it's not turned out well. So don't feel bad.
And I know that. So I don't feel bad. I know that going into a new experience, I know I have to build a data set, and I know I'm going to fail. And I'm so okay with it. It used to hurt my feelings a lot. But now I'm like, okay, this is going to be a train wreck. Let's watch.
I've gotten better about that. I mean, there's still moments where I hesitate on first tries, but at the same time, I've learned to appreciate that you have to put yourself out there. So trying new things is so important. Yeah. I tried something new with that elk bugle I built last week. Yeah. But I haven't tried it yet because I'm afraid of failure. So it's a weird paradigm I'm in, I guess. Yeah. Or quandary, rather. Yeah.
So Tuesday night, that was Monday night. That was Memorial Day. Great. My wife came home. And Tuesday, it's starting to get nice out. But my wife's like, you know what? Let's go to dinner at Texas Roadhouse.
Delish.
And then let's go watch Top Gun Maverick.
I've heard good things about it.
So I go, whoa. You're moving a little fast. We've only been married for 22 years, and you want to go to Top Gun with me?
Oh, my goodness. Hello.
I was 15 when that movie came out. You have no idea the influence. You have no idea how many guys I know, Generation X, that joined the Navy because of that movie. Wow. You have no idea. I work out at the gym with a guy who became a naval aviator. Yeah, because of that movie. One of my bosses up in Boise, when I worked in real estate, he joined the Naval Academy because of Top Gun. My boss at the roadwork place flew a plane because he saw Top Gun.
Yeah.
I mean, Top Gun. As soon as I saw Top Gun, I'm like, that's it. My life, I know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life now. I'm going to be a naval aviator.
When I was 8 or 9, I got to watch Iron Eagle too.
Dude. Yeah, boy, it really lost its steam. It really lost its momentum after that. Yeah. And so I'm like, my wife asked me to go to Top Gun. I'm like, I don't know if you know what that means. You know how passionate I am. I read a book about epigenetics. Yeah. And I'm like, watch out. I know everything about epigenetics now. Everything. Don't even talk about genetics or I'll
You just kind of have to bite your tongue when that happens.
Right. And I do. It happens a lot because I read a lot of books. And I'm just as passionate about this book as I was a week ago when I read that book.
Yeah.
And so I had to tell her, listen, if we go to Top Gun and I decide I want to be a Top Gun instructor, you might have to go with it. That's what I'm saying.
You got out of going to Top Gun is what I take.
No, I went to see it. No, I was kidding. Of course, I'm too old to. I got enough adventures, but it was nice. The Generation X that was in the movie theater, coughing, taking their pills, waddling out to the bathroom 2 hours in. Yeah, it was great. Hey, Gen X, we're there. Wow. But Tom Cruise is looking fantastic. Yeah, that guy's 65.
Is that a Scientology thing? Sorry.
Sorry. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But Iceman was in the movie.
I read Val Kilmer. I read, and they used some really cool artificial intelligence to help him out.
I'm sure they did. I love Val Kilmer because I sent you a trailer for Willow.
Yeah.
And Warwick Davis is going to be in Willow. Yeah. And when I think about Willow, I just think about the greatest swordsman who ever lived, Mad Mardigan.
Mad Mardigan, man.
I don't want to try.
I don't want to try. It's just such a good character. One of my favorite
Someone
movies.
Help me. There's a peck here with an acorn pointed at me. So many great lines from Val Kilmer.
That's all I'm going to say.
So good. I loved Willow. So much magic. And I've been a fan of Ron Howard. We've been a fan of Ron Howard for so many years.
I was always sad to learn eventually that was a movie Willow was a movie that Ron Howard was sort of, he didn't get a lot of acclaim for.
No.
It took time and history to help him get the credit for it.
Yeah.
And coincidentally enough, I mentioned Iron Eagle 2. Yeah. The reason why I saw that is because...
Was it a double feature?
So our sister Lorna, we mentioned last week.
Yeah.
Her and I, if I was 6 or 7, she was 8 or 9.
Okay.
Or she was 9 or 10. Her and I were dropped off at the theater one day.
Sure.
Because there was a free show for Willow.
Wow.
And so we were just kicked out of the car.
Was that crowded?
At the Gaslight Theater. The Gaslight.
Downtown?
Is that the Gaslight?
It's the Gaslight downtown. It's not the
It
Gaslight
wasn't the
anymore.
Gaslight. I'm gaslighting you now. No, just kidding.
It's the base camp now.
Whatever it was,
downtown,
and it was next to the cool feature they had with the Fort Georgian monument in the...
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were there. We were supposed to wait to get into this movie, but we're kids. We're freaking kids.
Yeah.
And so Lorna eventually gets out of this line, and I follow her because I'm like, well, I don't want to be alone. So we go and we play. We play, and eventually we were able to put the pieces together. The line's shorter, so we get back in line. We get into the theater, and there's probably about 7 to 10 people left, and we're literally at the back of the line now. And the usher comes out and says, "Theater's full, folks."
Oh.
But the people standing in front of us also gave us an indication like, hey, you're here for the movie? Do you have tickets? Because there was apparently tickets that you had to get into that movie. But they gave out too many tickets. But this couple in front of us, they were older, maybe mid-20s, late 20s. Yeah. They gave us tickets to this Willow show.
Nice. Did you see it in the theater?
We didn't. Because it overfilled. The usher comes out and he goes, "Theater's full, folks. Your option is not watching this movie, or you can go see Iron Eagle 2. That's how I saw Iron Eagle 2. And I was very young. And so they ushered us into there. And to this day, I still remember leaving Iron Eagle 2 to go to the bathroom. But of course, I'm young.
Yeah.
And I'm unsupervised. And it's ridiculous. It's the 1980s. I poked my head in the other 2 theaters on my way to the bathroom.
Yeah.
The first theater was, I think, Willow.
Okay.
And it was the scene where the 2-headed dragon comes out of the water.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. And I was like, whoa, how did I not see that movie? I'm watching this dumb... I mean, it was cool. I like, planes and stuff. But that was really fantastic. But then I stuck my head into the other theater, because there's 3 theaters at that place. I don't know if it's... Back to the Future 2.
Oh!
And it was the very end.
Oh.
It's Marty McFly in the rain.
Oh,
screaming,
wow.
"It's a letter from the doc."
Oh my gosh, what an epic day to be, except for Iron Eagle 2, what an epic day to be at the movie theater.
And two of the most iconic scenes from both movies. To know that there's going to be a sequel for one. Yeah. And there's this really interesting it wasn't animated, it was sort of a stop animation, but it was really
There were no special effects that Ron Howard used in Willow. It's one of the challenges there were
special
camera tricks,
and stop animation, things like that. But it was really well done.
Oh,
but that was my memory of being at the that theater that day. And so that's crazy how that story came out in this conversation here. And but I think what's crazier about that, what I had a tendency to forget about, and I don't mean to go here, but and I know I wasn't the only child that this happened to.
Sure.
Lorna was there too. There's 2 of us at least. There was many other children.
Yeah.
But to be just blatantly dropped off.
Listen. I know you. It's a common theme you bring up, and you're at the tail end of Gen X.
I know.
You're at the tail of Generation
I'm 81,
X.
yeah.
And I'm a little bit more towards the beginning of Generation X. And as I'm on social media, I'm finding more people talking about Gen X. So the what's interesting is the population of the boomers is bigger than the population of Gen X by a lot.
Yeah.
And the population of the millennials is much bigger than the population of Gen X as well.
That's interesting.
The millennials and the boomers are about the same size population.
I guess I was wondering about that stat because I know that it sort of dipped.
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure if it was coming back.
And
up.
So now there's a lot of boomers that are falling away. And
boomer.
And now Gen X is sort of set to take the stage. We haven't had a Gen X president yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So no one's really represented.
And we
Gen
really
X.
could use some younger minds. Anyway.
Yeah, Gen X isn't really young.
but it's younger.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Amen.
You're welcome.
So the whole point to that was I don't remember what I was talking about.
We actually started with going to dinner and then going to the jet show, whatever it's called.
So when I talk about Gen X, so I see a lot of Gen Xers come across my TikTok.
Yeah.
And there's a common theme, and I know I've said it out loud. I haven't said this is a theme that I found on TikTok with other Gen Xers. But Gen Xers talk about being the generation that was unsupervised.
Yeah.
We were unsupervised. This is why I don't have a job. I cannot take supervision at all.
And my common joke is that I was a poster child for CPS.
Yes.
In the 90s. So
the whole 80s were. There was all. Look at Marty McFly. Why is he in high school getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the mall?
And then go to a weird stranger's place to play guitar.
That was the 80s. That would not happen in the 90s.
No.
And it sure as heck would not happen now. Because your mom would be tracking you on Facebook, and I don't know, Doc Brown.
And not even that. She's not just tracking you on your phone. She's got an Apple. What do they call those? Those Apple devices?
Just find my iPhone. It's just, I pay for your phone bill, kid.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's just a GPS locator for Apple.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're everywhere. In fact,
I could have one on my truck right now, so people try to find my fishing spots.
I should try to launch some towards some elk. Anyway,
you're gonna get there.
All right.
I've been trying to find elk on Google Earth for I don't know how long.
That's right.
Every time I get onto Google Earth, I'm like, God, those mountains are pretty. You know, I'm just gonna look real quick. You look at the date and you go, when did the satellite take this picture? Oh, it was in August. Okay. I know it was hot out. The elk are going to be in the high country. They're going to be in the river bottoms. They're going to be close. And I just scour. If anybody knows where to confirm a confirmed sighting of elk on Google Earth, please let the Elk Season Podcast know so we can tell everybody.
Yeah. So I'm gonna code this.
Okay.
So please don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this in a way where you're gonna have to decode it in your mind, but don't say what's decoded.
All right.
So when I was scouting the location that we hunt now, I found a particular place that I initially wanted to hunt, the Briquette.
Okay, yeah.
And I was there. It was the images from Google Earth were from September during hunting season.
Yeah.
And you can see the hunting and camping
where
people
they
out
camped,
there. But I still haven't found the elk either. It's hard to see. So anyway, the Briquette. Figure that one out.
Anyway, so I spent a lot of time on Google. I think there's got to be some out there. There's got to be. Yeah. Anyway, so those are my announcements. I had ribs. What the great contrast between the ribs I made and the ones Texas Roadhouse made. I just pulled the bone out and ate it like chicken, like pulled
most
chicken.
common. So here's the thing. Now, some people probably don't care. I know I don't care. But most people who do traditional barbecue and smoking, they say if you pull the bone out and it just comes out easily like that, it was likely boiled because the boiling process separates all the connective tissue to the bone. Whereas the smoking process doesn't do that, where it'll come out easily. There a lot of times there's still stuff stuck to the bone.
Yeah.
And so because when I can verify that that's what I've experienced when I boil it versus when I smoke it. Yeah. Because I started off boiling. And I would use a crab boil actually to help season the meat. So you boil it in this crab oil, and then you kind of get.
Are you saying crab oil?
Boil.
Crab boil?
Yeah. So there's a package at the store you can get if you want to do seafood, and so you do a crab boil, which has a whole bunch of seafood stuff. in it.
Okay, yeah.
And so, but it's got these really good flavors that really complement pork.
Okay.
So you throw this package in the water and you boil the pork, and then halfway through you turn it over, and then once it's boiled completely, you cut the ribs apart, and then you would sear them. So it's kind of like a reverse sear.
So here's what I should have done. Listen, Memorial Day, 30 days ago, I should have been like, Memorial Day is 30 days away. I want to smoke some ribs. Let's get started.
Yeah. So you might, if you have a big pot of water, get some crab boil, and then you cut the ribs individually, and then you char them on the grill.
Oh.
and then you season them with your barbecue sauce or whatever. So
these came out as like a full rack from Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, I don't know about Texas Roadhouse. I was talking about your own ribs.
I know
your process.
Well, the bones came out.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to cut them individually. You can cut them in sections.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that's what you'll see at restaurants
I
a
gotcha.
lot. Yeah.
Okay.
So if he wants 5 ribs, good there.
It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome.
And so it just depends.
But Father's Day is coming up.
So
and I don't have a smoker. I would love to do all the smoking meat stuff guys do.
You want it? Well, let's plan a Father's Day.
I don't even know what. Yeah.
I've got a smoker. I've got a grill.
You show me.
Let's come over. I'll give you a crash course. Okay. Well, I'll give you a day course on it.
I just need to get started.
And we can drink beer all day. And we can smoke ribs all day. The kids can jump on the trampoline and kill each other, and we can watch the groundhogs come into the yard and get chased by the dog. It'd be great.
That sounds like a mandate.
There you go.
All right. I'll inform my wife that's what she's doing on Father's Day.
Okay.
You have to do what I say on Father's Day.
Yeah.
My birthday. They're both
It's because of you I've adopted the mentality that on Mother's Day all bets are off.
Yeah.
And so
your special day, whatever you want.
Father's Day, all bets are off. And so I tell everybody religiously, no.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
The kids' birthdays are like, it's your special day. You tell us what's for dinner, you tell us what's on TV, you tell us what we're doing.
Well, okay, so we let them do dinner and stuff.
It's like a yes day. It's like a yes day. Are you familiar with yes day?
We just talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
But because there's a movie with people doing yes day and they go through a car wash. We're like, we could never do we had to have this conversation with our kids. We could never do a yes day because we're not going through a car wash with our windows down. Sorry.
So here's a funny story. It just so happened I went through one of the craziest storms in elk season with my window down.
Oh, that's right.
I was so excited.
This is just last year.
It was 2 or 3 years ago. A couple years ago. But
when did you get the truck?
I don't know. It was last year, maybe.
Because it was when you got the truck. It was a brand.
2 years. I've been there for 2 years.
So it was a brand new truck.
It's a 2017.
He's had it.
It couldn't have been that new.
But it was new to you, man.
Yeah.
And it smelled new.
Anyway, and I hiked all the way up to base camp. I am backpacked in. Oh my God. And I hike all the way back down to the truck knowing that I'm waiting for my brother. I can't wait to see him. I have some really, really big news. And I'm so excited. And he finally pulls up and I had both windows down. I had both windows down, and I just rolled one window up when he got there, and I locked the truck up, and we went in for a couple days.
Yep.
And we hiked back down.
And there were people getting out.
And there are people like, hey, man, you left your window down. I still haven't told my wife about that.
Really? What's the most craziest thing?
So my point is, what's the big deal about going through the car wash with the windows down? Just go. You'll be fine.
I rode my bike to campus yesterday, and I had to drive by a car wash.
Yeah.
And it smells crappy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rain versus car wash water. Yeah. Different. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
And I'll be honest, I was really surprised at how much it didn't look like it rained in your truck. Like the rain must have been coming from the other side. It didn't look like it touched anything.
I know. There was nothing wrong with the truck. Nothing was missing. Nothing was missing. I had stuff in the truck. I had all these extra supplies.
The seat wasn't even wet. I don't understand that.
It stored. It was one of the most. I told you it was my favorite part of the entire elk season. Was that storm to hear the wind rumbling towards you like a monster, and when it finally gets there, it just goes shh. It sounds like it's going to be so ferocious, and it gets there and it's not. And I every time I woke up that night in my tent, I just would hear this wind coming to me from a long ways away, like a freight train. And then knowing that was hitting my truck with the wind.
The way the wind rips across trees creates a lot more noise than if it's ripping across nothing. So it sounds horrible, but it's not as bad as it sounds.
And I got soaked in my tent.
Oh, that's right.
My tent was wet.
Yeah,
because I didn't have that one string on the flap.
Yeah.
On the
I'm excited to use my old tent again this year. I got those new poles. I'm curious about that.
All right. Anyway, we can get started with the podcast. I guess we're 30 minutes in.
Started with the podcast. I'm sorry. I don't think this means what you think this means.
We've been talking about our week. We just updating you. I'm excited about elk season. How many days? If it was 94 last week, 94 minus 7, it'd be 87.
Yeah, this sounds like the social stress test. A social stress test. We're going to start with a math test. Count backwards from 996 in increments of 7, and as fast as you can.
Okay.
Go.
I'm sorry, what?
996, count backwards from set.
Oh, 89. Yeah.
No. 990, starting with 996, count backwards.
996.
In increments of 7 as fast as you can.
Okay. Why?
Go.
Why?
Well, the idea is this. There's 2 parts to this particular social stress test. And that is you count backwards from 996 in increments of 7, and you'll, as you're doing that, I'll be sitting here mocking you in ways that make you feel like I'm disappointed in your performance. So it's meant to elevate your stress.
So you'll be being my brother.
Yeah.
That's what brothers do.
So you're not going fast enough. So anyway, and then there's other elements, and the idea is
any day now.
The idea is to check your heart rate and physiology, and then they
okay.
look at your stress response. It's a stress thing. So anyway,
so you hook me up to a lie detector, and you say, "Do you want to hit your brother?" Lie.
We found deception. This indicates deception here. A big deception.
Lots of deception going on.
Anyway, so let's talk about conservation news. We got a lot in the news, and we're already 30 minutes.
Yeah,
in,
I know.
So,
but
30 minutes.
But again, 87 days till elk season, man.
87.
87. You rode your bike this week?
Yeah, I got leg day in.
Yeah, leg day.
That's all I could. I'll be honest. I thought about that while the ride. I was like, I'm getting leg day.
Yeah,
finally.
You are.
My back was out for 3 freaking weeks.
Yeah.
And so I'm going
to
be riding my bike. Hopefully every day I have class, as long as my wife is able to be at home, because she works from home most of the time when she has to go in the office. Anyway, but I'll be riding my bike a lot. It's actually takes me 25 minutes to get to campus from here.
Really?
25 minutes.
Wow.
I'm going to try a different route next time.
It took me 17 to get to the radio station.
Really?
It never took me more than 20.
Really?
Yes.
So, and it's funny because I go over to the canyon trail.
Yeah. You're a ways. This country's bigger than it looks.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But because there's really no way to quickly access CSI's campus, when I get to if you're not in Idaho, the road called Pole Line.
Yeah.
I have to go up to the corner and then up to the car wash and then back on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I kind
of have to backtrack a little bit. So
can't you just go out, like up by Canyon Ridge, just cut across up here? Are you just in the neighborhoods right here?
Well, but I can go under Pole Line on the canyon trail, and so
that is extra time.
It's safe. Yeah. It's safer
to
go underneath that,
and so fun. It's a tunnel.
Yeah,
there's not many tunnels out where we're from.
And I'll be honest. What would I say? My illogical, irrational fear.
Yeah,
that there's going to be bum down there someday trying to get money off me.
There was always bums. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said what I needed to say.
I heard a great joke. I heard a great joke on TikTok. Hey, why is it great to have a homeless girlfriend?
Why?
You can drop her off anywhere. Oh. Anyway, we lived like 3 blocks away from where bums hung out.
Under the bridges.
All the time. Yeah.
I remember going down on my bike.
They had fires down there by the railroad tracks.
Underneath the overpasses in Montana. Yeah.
So we're used to seeing bums, vagrants, lowlifes. Is there a better word for them?
Panhandler?
Bum. I don't know.
If he's got a flute. All right.
Homeless people.
An individual choosing a particular lifestyle.
That's right, man. And it's living under bridges. Hey, good for you, man.
Anyway, so there's that. I got leg day in.
Good. You don't want to skip leg day. My back is also. My back was out for like a week, and it was touch and go for a while. I was kind of the same issue, but I've been dealing with the same issue for a little bit longer, and so I know how to remedy it. I think I do anyway. Yeah, until it breaks and I can't fix it.
The biggest thing that helped me the most was a heat pad.
Really?
A heating pad. Wow. So I'll do my stretches and then I'll lay down on my back so there's no pressure on my back, and I'll put a heat pad on and I'll just turn it on high and go for about 20, 30 minutes and I'll stop. Wow. Heat actually, surprisingly, is what has been my best medicine.
Yeah.
Ever since I had a stroke. Now, we haven't talked about my stroke here on the podcast.
No.
But I had a stroke, but when I was getting released from the hospital in Boise, I went to brush my teeth as we were waiting word, like, am I going home? Am I staying here? And I went to brush my teeth, and the sink is ridiculously low for tall people because it's a hospital and needs to be accessible.
Right.
For shorter people. And
well, for everyone, which includes short people.
But my back went out as I bent over to brush my teeth because I had been laid up for 3 days. Because they were like, don't move. If you need to go to the bathroom, call the nurse. It was It was an ordeal.
They were serious.
I can't say that it was stressful other than I had to get my head wrapped around that I had a freaking stroke.
Yeah.
Because I think I was in denial for about a week.
I'm still wrapping my head around it.
And so, but luckily, as far as I can tell, no major long-term effects. But my back went out. And the nurse comes in and she's like, I'll get a heat pack. And I was like, okay. And here's the craziest thing. And this is for my wife. This is for you, honey. The nurse comes in with a heat pack, and I realize that it helps. And as I go through the next couple of days, my back gets back in order quicker than it normally does. And my wife
from
has
the heat,
from the heat and minor stretching.
Right.
But my wife had been telling me to put heat on my back issues.
Yeah,
for a long time.
Really.
And so she's not resentful of me because I listened to a nurse. She's thankful that I finally listen and appreciate it, and she's happy to help out now. But heat, to keep things loose and to keep things going. So heat, and I hadn't been using heat that regularly, coincidentally, until the last 4 or 5 days of this thing. 3 weeks, I didn't touch the heat.
Okay.
The last week I touched the heat. And it.
Okay. Next time my back goes out,
try heat.
I will
do all the things you do.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Just one other thing.
Add heat to my repertoire.
Yes.
Of back maintenance, my back maintenance program, because it's a real thing. Back maintenance.
And my thought is this: if I have a back issue out in the woods, how do I get heat back at camp?
So I've thought about that. Because when I'm, I'm a bit of a Nancy, as the hound would say.
A bit.
I get cold.
You know what?
I get cold, and
You're a talker.
I like my little hotties.
Talkers make me thirsty.
Right? So I would backpack in with a bunch of little hotties, and before I go to bed, I'll open like 6 little hotties.
Yeah.
Stuff them into my sleeping bag. Yeah. And it's awesome. But I'm like, that's a lot to pack, and then just have to pack out and throw away.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some other way to do it. So I thought about like a hot water bottle.
Yeah.
I got a jet boil.
Yeah.
If I had a jet boil. So anyways, portable heat can be a thing for backpacking and hiking, because there are some days when, man, I'm sore. I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And I told you my back went out. I was just underneath some trees glassing. And I stood up to stretch for a minute. My back went out, and I immediately went into yoga stretches at 9,000 feet on the side of this mountain, and thinking, oh my gosh, why would this happen in the middle of elk season? So anything I can get. I always hike with ibuprofen. Yeah. Neosporin. A few Band-Aids. I used to bring stitches with me. I used to bring a needle and stitches. I'm like, if it's that bad, I'm leaving.
I even bought, this time around, I haven't used it, but an Aleve pain cream that gives you that cooling sensation. But it's
nice.
It was actually I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. They have some where it's just a cream, and then they have a slightly more expensive bottle that has a little applicator attached to it. So
this is officially the Old Man Elk Season Podcast.
It does stink, though.
We're going to give you our medical history.
So ice mint is going to be, as long as elk don't have a problem with ice mint, and maybe they're attracted to it.
Yeah,
maybe that's what we're missing.
You never know. I heard Corey Jacobson always choose cinnamon gum. Who knew?
How about that?
Always choose cinnamon.
Ooh, I'm missing out. Okay. So conservation news. So coincidentally, the last time I went to Yellowstone Park was 2018.
Yeah.
Drove through with my family. Big family trip. We went up to Bozeman. We went to the Museum of the Rockies. Nice. Saw a really cool Pachycephalosaurus, which is those bald-headed things. And it's just a juvenile Pachycephalosaurus is so amazing. The skull they have there was my favorite part of the whole exhibit.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
The way they describe it, I think it was the second movie.
Jurassic Park, The Lost World. Yeah.
How they describe how they ram into stuff and just knock over.
But a juvenile Pachycephalosaurus was one of my favorite features of that entire museum. Anyway, but we drove through Yellowstone the day before. We stayed in West Yellowstone, and we drove out, and we just spent driving around.
Beautiful.
What did we not see? Buffalo.
Really?
We didn't see it. We saw one.
How do you not see buffalo?
That's exactly my question. We drove around cursing Yellowstone. How in the blank do we not see more than one buffalo in Yellowstone Park when we're there? I don't know. It was August.
Yeah.
But they migrate. Right now,
they do, yeah.
So I didn't realize they migrate towards the north, what do we say, the northeastern part of the park, apparently.
do.
And I didn't know that migration pattern. right now they're near like the
northeast corner of Yellowstone is the Beartooth Highway.
Yeah.
And I think I talked to you about the Beartooth Highway.
Yeah.
Some parts of the highway are over 14,000 feet high, higher than any mountain in Idaho.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And it's incredible. But on the way up there, you can imagine how much cooler the air is up there.
Yeah.
And so we did see a lot of buffalo. And when we went in, I think in July. But yeah.
Yeah, so one buffalo. But
only one.
And it was at a distance. Yeah. And I was driving. It was the year we got our Traverse.
Can I give you a quote from my best friend Slim?
Sure.
I know you've heard this before.
Probably.
Hunting for buffalo in West Yellowstone is kind of like hunting for underwear at Walmart. Just go pick some you like.
Yeah. Except the time I was there in 2017.
Yeah, I know.
Because I got there after everybody had already shopped, apparently.
Yeah.
So, but
I think we had been there. We were hunting elk or hunting buffalo in 2013 or 2014.
But I bring up that story not necessarily to tell you more rants and raves about the history of my life, but it's to say, look, we've had these conversations on this podcast before. Like wildlife is wildlife, and you have to respect it.
So yeah,
you can't just walk up to, especially an injured animal, even if it seems like, oh, it's just that animal could, an injured bird could hurt you.
Oh, bad.
Right? Because
an injured domestic dog, if it's injured and doesn't know you, don't approach it. Yeah.
So approaching animals is a bad idea, always. I think recently we talked about don't approach the bears. I've talked about don't feed the bears, right? And don't approach the buffalo.
Yeah.
Don't approach them.
This is just the first story of the summer.
Yeah.
We're just getting it out there. It's just the first one.
A woman was hospitalized, and from my understanding from subsequent articles, has consequently died.
Really?
Because she was thrown 30 feet into the air.
She passed away?
Yeah.
Well, 30 feet in the air, that's 3 stories.
Yeah. She was, maybe it was, I don't know how many feet, but she was tossed.
Those buffalo were strong.
And she was flown to I think it was the Idaho Falls Hospital.
Okay, yeah.
But I understand she perished.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Buffalo are nothing to mess with. They're not, look, I don't care how much you love your little miniature toy poodle.
Yeah.
Given the choice with hunger or starvation, but you're dead on the floor because you died as well, it will eat you to live.
You know the most dangerous animal in Africa is, right? That's right, the hippo.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, no,
very territorial, very dangerous. Say what you want about how great and violent a death from a lion or hyenas or jaguars or whatever would be. Man, a hippo will do some damage.
So approaching an animal in the wild is one thing. You had a choice. And there are rules, and there are, I don't know if there are laws, but there are definite rules. When you go to a national park, don't get near the wildlife. There are people that will post videos on YouTube or on the internet, and they're found out, and they will get charged.
Yeah.
Okay. This doesn't have to do with animals, but it had to do with people doing what's called hot dipping in Yellowstone. Have you heard of hot dipping?
Yeah, I think so.
Hot dipping is where you sneak out to one of the hot pools, one of the geysers, and not geysers, but hot pools, and you jump in, you jump out real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, there was a tragic story of a brother and a sister who went to Yellowstone many years ago. The brother jumped in. It was too hot. He perished. By the time they went to try to retrieve his body, he was dissolved.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Those rules are there for a reason. So don't approach the wildlife. And I guess you could say those hot pools in Yellowstone are wildlife because they'll eat you.
Yeah. I read a book called Death in Yellowstone. I know I've talked to you about it before, but the guy was an EMT in both Yosemite and Yellowstone. And some of the questions he got, like in Yosemite, where are the buffalo? They're both national parks that start with the letter Y.
Huh.
There's such a disconnect. We live here.
Yeah.
We know Yellowstone is where the grizzlies are. Yosemite is where the rocks are. I mean, there's
a beautiful waterfall that turns orange at a certain time of year.
Once a year. It's a great place. But we know this. Tourists come from all over the world. The world. You know, I know Yellowstone is the first national park in the world.
Right.
And it's 150 years old this year?
Yeah.
No.
It's getting old. It's up there.
No, it's not. Because
it's 100 something.
It is. Yeah, well, it is. It is 150.
Yeah.
Because its first year as a national park, Chief Joseph and his band went through escaping Montana, which was in the 1880s.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think we're at 150. I had to trust my history.
Fact check us. Hopefully you're watching, and if you're watching, tell your friends to come watch us and fact check us as well, because we could use that.
And if you're watching it this far, give us a like. Because that'll really help YouTube's algorithm.
Because I can't.
Maybe we can get 2.
Because I get tired of getting on every now and then when I remember to like my own video.
Just like it.
Just like it. Just do it. So the whole point I'm bringing up, though, is approaching wildlife in a wilderness area is one thing. But we also talk about active management, active conservation, being active stewards of our wildlife and our lands. Man's encroachment on nature is everywhere, and here in Idaho particularly. In fact, where I'm sitting right now is in a brand new house on what used to be farmland, which used to be just prairie.
Yeah.
And so I've had to deal with the wildlife, locals, as you will, the whistle pigs. Apparently they're not prairie dogs. Don't ask me why I have to qualify that, but it's for my acquaintance named Tracy. Anyway.
Thank you, Tracy. They're not whistle pigs. I did not want to correct them. Whistle pigs are so different.
Ground squirrels.
They're groundhogs or ground squirrels.
Hold on. You're picking a fight there, brother.
I know.
And
I don't care enough.
And I don't care either. And I told him so much yesterday. But that's not the point.
Well, and some people do call the gophers whistle pigs.
Yeah.
And some people call the rockchucks whistle pigs.
But rockchuck, anyway, look, he just likes, well, I don't know what he likes to do, but I'll just say this. We'll agree to disagree.
He's just right. Let's just say that he's right, and so am I.
Yes. So, but the point is this. Sometimes, when we say don't approach the wildlife, sometimes because of our encroachment on wildlife, it's hard to avoid. And so when you have a new subdivision in an area where there was a lot of blackberries, you might have issues with trash, things like that. And I don't know the particular circumstance surrounding this particular case, but I know that here in Idaho, we've had an increase of mountain lions encroaching on our, I guess, the human existence, right? Over where we like to hunt mule deer.
I don't know, call ecosystem?
Yeah.
Or the human ecosystem.
As it expands, we're starting to interact with these other ecosystems. That's a good way to put it. And so we had a young 9-year-old who was attacked by a mountain lion.
She was playing hide-and-seek. Yeah, she was playing hide-and-seek. And she was attacked by a mountain lion. It was a brutal, horrible attack. She's okay. She's in the hospital. She's recovering. But there's a lot of wild animals are wild.
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
So I guess in a weird, long, extended, winded, wordy way.
Can you
difference
say that in another way?
There's
you paraphrase that for me?
Here you go. There's a difference between approaching wildlife in the wilderness versus being approached by wilderness in your own wildlife. That was weird. But I think it made sense. Anyway,
I'm feeling it.
So let's go with it.
Okay.
In the Washington State Division of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, another mountain lion. It's just a story confirming this story. So, a fruitland girl here in Idaho. So I guess it's the same story. So,
it is. I know there were two on the same story, but
I just wanted to make sure that we knew it was the Washington State Division of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, the Utah division of the Montana State Wildlife and Parks is talking about pikas.
Okay.
What is a pika?
What's a pika?
Peekaboo.
Pika is high altitude marmot. High altitude whistle pig.
They are fat and cute. I wouldn't say whistle pig, but they're
so cute. Because they're fluffy. They have more fur.
They look like what is a sugar glider? Not a sugar glider. What are those big fat animals that everybody wants? They're not rats. They're not mice. My wife wanted one. She was like, I always wanted one of those.
Was it a pika?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because they look like pikas.
I'm gonna I wish I could step out and ask her. Like, what was this? Know. They're like giant hamsters. And they're just cute. They just look fun.
Oh. Gosh, what are those things called? Is that are they from Brazil?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do. Gosh, and it's killing me.
Yeah.
It is
unimportant.
The largest rodent in the world, actually.
No,
not
those.
That?
Not that.
Oh, okay.
Not that. Sorry, those. We actually had. So back in the day, in the 1990s, somebody had one of those in Boise, and it got loose, and there were pictures of it next to a canal. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Boise's got some strange stories from one of. I can't remember what those are called either. But yeah, and then there was a lady at Zoo Boise that got attacked by the tiger there one time in 1997.
That's frightening. Yeah.
Hey, in the New Mexico division of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, they talk about 11 Mexican wolf pups were placed in eastern Arizona. Tell me about that.
So they're looking the wolf reintroduction. When I read the book Decade of the Wolf, when America decided that we are going to reintroduce wolves to Yellowstone, I really don't think. Do you remember how old you were then? I was 1994. 1993, 1994,
12, 13.
Young, and I was young too, and I really didn't understand it because I
remember seeing newspaper headings, but I don't.
I'm just starting life. I don't know anything about it, but the world responded to that in so positively, right? Everybody's like, oh, restoring the Yellowstone ecosystem is really, really important, and so. It got a lot of. We used to call them tree huggers, right?
Yeah.
It just got a lot of environmentalists like really excited, like, oh, we can do this. Yeah. It had never been done. It had never been done. Nothing like that had ever been done. We had the parachuting beavers
in Idaho. That is, yeah.
But
chomp.
But it wasn't an apex predator. It wasn't. I would argue that it was a keystone species, that the beaver was a keystone species, but definitely the wolf was. And to have so much, and people come from thousands of miles and they just want to see wolves, they will pay thousands of dollars if you can take them to just view wolves.
Wow.
It's incredible. And so it's great because everybody's talking about healthy ecosystems now. And so we have a different kind of wolf. Now, we have the same kind of wolf that we have the gray wolf or the, what are the other names for it? Canis lupus, I think is its name officially.
Timber wolf.
The timber wolf, the timber wolf and the Rocky Mountain wolf.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. But it's the same species. But it does speciate a little, gets a little bit smaller, and has a little bit different prey the further you go south. So, and they were in some places in Mexico, but to bring these Mexican wolves back into the United States is a continuation of this ecosystem recovery. Yeah. And so I just thought I'd throw that in there. I find it interesting. It's the beginning of the story, or it's another data point in this story of the Mexican wolves coming back in the southern United States.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to watch and see how this unfolds.
So, anyways, that's a story I'll be keeping an eye on. When I see something, I'll bring it up.
Hey, Washington wildlife managers say they're investigating deaths of a number of wolves in northeastern corner of the state. So we're talking about
Spokane.
Near the Idaho border.
Yeah.
Spokane, by the way, I wanted to get a job there really bad when I was graduating college. I applied to a couple of places up there, and I fell in love because I'm like, I hadn't lived in a place like that before. I looked at imagery and Google Maps, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Spokane's a nice place.
I wanted to move there so bad, and it fell through. It didn't happen.
Well, obviously,
that's okay.
That's okay.
Where I landed is where I needed to land.
I could tell you some horror stories.
No,
and you'll be glad you're here.
Yeah,
you're here.
I'm actually glad I'm here.
Good.
So, hey, let's get to some bear news.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know why.
My first mountain lion experience was in northern Idaho.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I worked in Spokane, and I lived in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Because it's just 25 miles. It's real cool. Anyways, I'll tell that story some other time, but it's a good one.
Bear news. Other than the bear bottom end. I don't know why that popped in my head, but talk about young teenage angst.
Yeah.
Take a picture. Just go.
Just moon the camera. Just moon it. Everybody moons these days. No, you can't get moon. You'll get on a list.
Yeah. An encounter happened only about 30 miles from New York City, and this blew my mind. I read this the other day. Boy Scout wakes up in the middle of the night with a bear biting his leg.
Yeah.
And he has to fight it off.
Yeah.
And kick it. And so what's crazy about this story, and I don't know what you remember about reading it, but he fights the bear off, and the bear continues to come back to the camp. And of course, they get people involved. They capture the bear, and they euthanize the bear.
Oh, okay.
And the Boy Scout says, "I'm sad they had to euthanize him.
Yeah,
he was just being a bear.
Yeah.
You got attacked by a bear, and you had empathy for that bear. Yeah. My hat is off to you, sir.
That's a good Boy Scout right there. I know the Boy Scouts have been getting a bad rap, but it's not about the Boy Scouts. It's about the leaders in the organization. Boy Scouts, that's a solid Boy Scout right there.
That right there, man.
Respect.
Mad respect. Mad respect. Yeah. I've said that they had to euthanize him.
The bear's just being a bear.
Bear was just being
that's awesome.
So I don't know. Had you read that?
I had not.
Yeah,
I had not. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Outfitters are saying that grizzly hunting ban was fueled by politics instead of science, which politics versus science.
And it will continue.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about the swing that politics is going to take.
Please tell me your prediction.
My prediction is when the right person is attacked by a grizzly bear, the politics will swing.
Okay.
That's all it takes is the right person. Right? So yeah, and there's a lawsuit. Yeah, it's a really big issue.
A lot of pieces to that puzzle, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
it takes somebody to have one bad experience that somehow is perceived as more important than other experiences, which sadly isn't the case because all experiences are equally important.
Yeah.
It's how we as a species have decided to give precedence to this over that experience, which is really annoying most of the time.
Yeah. Well, and all I really want to say about that is it's clear that the grizzly population is growing. That encounters with humans and grizzlies will grow with that.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the past 5 years, there has been a really solid boom in grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Like you can double it.
Last week we talked about it.
You can double it once, you can double it twice, you can double it 3 times the population of grizzlies. But all of a sudden you get to this doubling point, you're like, oh, there's a lot of bears here. There's a lot of grizzlies here. A lot of grizzly encounters. And because we can't hunt them.
Right.
I believe we will be able to, and if we're just patient, and we you go through the right channels.
Yeah.
I'm all for hunting them or sending them to California. Grizzly bears. If you want to talk responsible ecology, grizzly bears belong in California.
Yeah, got to talk management. Funny enough, what you talk about, though, is when a species enters an ecosystem, it has available resources, and those resources are going to support a certain population.
Yeah.
I learned about this in my freshman year of college.
In
an environmental science class with Dr. Simpkin.
Yeah.
And I remember learning about what's called the S-curve.
Okay.
So a population starts off on a small...
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then when it realizes it has the resources it needs, it goes up.
Yeah.
And then when the resources deplete, it levels off.
Yeah, that's right.
The S-curve.
That's right.
And so, and I think somewhere in that conversation we said, when does that happen for humans? I remember that being a part of our conversation.
Yeah, because it has to be.
Yeah.
And because we can manipulate genes and because we can produce fertilizer, the equation's always changing. We need less farmland to feed more humans, and it almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So... yeah, it's a weird thing to try to understand because in the natural world, it does not work like that.
Right.
They're called trophic levels, right?
Yeah.
There's this much land to feed this many buffalo to feed this many wolves, and this many grizzly bear to feed on the remnants of this many wolf kills, and that's a finite resource.
Yep.
They got to go somewhere else. And you're right, the growth will stop, or they will try to expand. Right? If you can't find elk babies here, I know there's elk babies over there.
Yeah.
Right? And the moose baby. Remember the moose baby video I showed you?
Yeah.
A mama moose. You guys probably saw it. A mama moose chasing a grizzly bear. And that grizzly bear running scared.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That grizzly bear looked like it wanted nothing to do with that moose.
I'm not that hungry.
I've changed my mind. I'm going to go back to berries.
So we'll see. But that process of reaching that maximum, that carrying capacity is not going to come without some rough edges.
Yeah.
And so we're going to find out what those rough edges are. And right now, that carrying capacity is balanced. Because all these populations want to grow. The elk populations want to grow. The wolf populations wants to grow. The deer populations wants to go. And we're working hard at culling the elk population.
Yeah.
We're working hard at culling the deer population. Yeah. If we don't work equally hard at culling the predator population, we're going to have some issues.
Yeah.
We're going to have some issues.
Yeah. Speaking of odd predators,
yeah.
In this another sequel here of Wolverine on this show.
Yeah.
This is boggling my mind how every week we seem to have a Wolverine story.
But you see right now why I told you. It's not just us.
Yeah, 250 to 300 Wolverines surviving in remote areas of Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, and Washington.
Yeah.
Do they need protection is what is being called the question.
And now the article is like, well, if you are saying that there's Wolverines here, well, then I guess we need to say, can you kill them? Can you hunt them? Can you trap them? Are they, I think they're officially like a varmint, right?
Maybe
they're like scavenger stats, like badger.
Yeah,
they're big.
They're big,
and they're rare. But
they're unlike a badger. If you do upset a Wolverine, they will kind of stalk. I understand.
Yeah.
According to a friend of mine who I have not vetted his information as of yesterday night, he said Wolverines, if you upset them, will actually try to track you and stalk you.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means.
I don't believe that. For the record, I don't believe that.
I don't know what to believe, man. I heard it from a trusted friend. It must be true.
I watched a reality show where a guy killed one with a hatchet.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't get away fast enough. Anyway. So,
I was just sort of putting some fodder out there.
You're trolling. That's what you're doing.
Pretty much.
You troll.
If he should stumble across this and actually give a damn to listen. Dang it.
Wow.
I got you good.
That's a win. I'm
got
putting
you
that
good
in the W column.
Hey, let's talk about some elk.
Okay. Elk. Okay.
Elk observed in lowest numbers in young big game animals surviving ever recorded in, what is it?
Nevada.
The Nevada division of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
Yeah, Nevada had a rough winter. Really, really low survival rate this year. So I don't know what it was. It was a long winter.
What I think it means for Idaho is the South Hills or the
Jarbidge.
So the bordering mountain range here from Idaho to Nevada. It's highly implicated.
Yeah.
Because we border with Nevada.
And the Jarbidge Mountains.
Yeah.
Jarbidge, Nevada, I think is the most isolated town in the lower 48.
I've been meaning to go out there. I know you've been out there, but
it's interesting. You can get a burger and drop a 20 in a slot machine, then take a dirt roam for 4 hours back home. It's fun.
Yeah. So elk populations are lower. In other places, they had an issue related to tags. So the Montana division of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks was quick to sort of correct the issue they had with 1,200 non-resident combo licenses that were printed and mailed. And so they had an issue. Seems like they got their handle on it, and they've figured it out.
Yeah, but 1,200 people got an elk tag and then got a phone call saying, you don't got an elk tag.
Yeah.
1,200.
That's
1,200 bummers, man.
Please don't send them here.
I know, that's awful.
Please don't send them here.
That's just a bummer.
Yeah.
To all 1,200 people, dude, I'm sorry. Oh, I know you had your I hope you get a tag someday. Yeah. I really do.
We put in for draws, and I got a draw one time.
But if I got a draw and then they called me and told me, nah, you didn't.
It would suck.
Because
you've been waiting.
Sucks. Anyway, we're sorry. That's a bummer.
Looking back here, hunters say they should have passed on killing the elk. Tell me about this story.
This is a pretty famous story. Some guys from out east, I think it was Wisconsin, maybe, but most places are further east from here. They came out to hunt elk, and it was a very, very, very exciting time for them. They're 50s or 60s.
Okay,
they're like, this is it. We know what we're doing. We've researched. It's legal to do this, and so they see some elk on an island, and they commence to shooting, and they have a tag for everyone on the island, every elk on the island.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. And what they didn't know was they shot the elk at first light, right? When the hunting's good. And what they didn't realize was that was a popular picnic spot. And before they had a chance to retrieve the elk from the island, people started showing up. It was I know. It was a nice day. And now there's a debacle because they can't get the elk off the island. Now these people are staring across the river at these dead elk. And these guys have no plan and there are no citations issued.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong other than understanding the public's sensitivity.
Yeah.
To animals.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, it was just a bummer of a story. I feel bad for those guys having their dream hunt. And it was a debacle. You get excited and you shoot something and it's legal to shoot.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, how am I going to get it now? They ended up hiring an outfitter who had a motorboat that had to, go up there to the island and get it off. But they actually tried one of their own flotation devices and it capsized. And it was just a disaster. I know, it was sad. I feel bad for the hunters. So another one, just a bummer.
Yeah.
Just a bummer deal.
We're not out of the woods yet in terms of drought, but this year has been a surprisingly useful or successful, I would say, water year.
Yeah.
Right. So we're saying the National Weather Service in Pocatello issued a flood advisory recently. Big Wood River, Haley affecting Blaine County. We've had a really interesting water distribution. Yeah. And so that's been good. I've been excited for that. And we talked about the rain at the beginning of the podcast. We're going to get a little bit more rain this weekend. Yeah. I actually have Zoom conference calls that I'll chime in every now and then. In the backdrop of my conference call is a place, I don't mind outing this. It's not a place I hunt, but it's called Bog Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And in 2006, I hiked my oldest boy, who's 15 now. He was 8 or 9 months old. I put him in a backpack. We hiked him up to this lake in 2006, and it was a pristine day. Beautiful, gorgeous lake, water, perfect reflection. So that's my backdrop on my Zoom conference call. And one of my colleagues chimed in and said, you really need to get off this call and go to wherever your backdrop is. And I said to this colleague, I said, it's probably still snowed in. Because the last time I went to this place was on Father's Day, which is still a few weeks away. In 2018. And there was this snow avalanche that blocked access to the trail.
Wow.
And so we actually couldn't go. We actually got to where there was a line of vehicles. People were parking and then hiking over the little avalanche.
Oh, yeah.
To get to the trail. But it was you couldn't actually get to the trail.
That's a good trail. That's a good trail. We've hiked it a few times. And I've taken my family too.
It's a fun place.
And the last time I was there, I was also there on Father's Day. Because the Father's Day, the kids can't say no. Neither can mom.
Yep.
You do what I say. And I'm taking you hiking. I brought s'mores.
Yeah.
I brought everything just to fire by a high mountain lake. It's an easy hike. And some s'mores. We got up there. We're hiking through snowdrifts. The entire Bog Lake is ice.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find enough wood to start a good fire and get anything going. But it was a fun hike, and we hiked back
were able to hike up there in 2015. We hiked up there on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And there was no snow.
Right.
And so a couple of years later, there was snow. I was like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, 1 year versus the next, because you go up there 1 year, and it's like, well, there's no snow anywhere. And
when we first moved back to Twin Falls, we went up there. And I know we're way over the podcast already. It's already an hour 7.
We're fine.
But we went to Bog Lake.
The boss.
We did an overnight camp, and we were on our way home after we did our overnight camp thing. And my oldest 2 boys, we don't have the third boy yet. We're in a Jeep Liberty. We're in Cary, Idaho.
Yeah.
We stop at a gas station. At the time, it was called Castle's Corner. Now it's called a Oasis Stop and Go. They need some food. We're like, we're not hungry, so we grab some corn dogs out of their little hot bin.
Yeah.
And so they start chomping down these hot dogs, and they're like, they taste funny. They're not very good. I'm like, we're tired. We're exhausted. We're like,
shut up and eat, kids.
Shut up and eat. And they keep complaining. There's nothing wrong with your hot dogs. They're just corn dogs. Just eat them. And so finally, my oldest boy finishes his, my 3-year-old. So it was, 3 plus 4. 3.
Wow.
3 and 7. Okay. 7-year-old finishes his. 3-year-old does not finish his. He has a little bit left. He hands it to the front. And what does the dad do with what's left over?
Chomp it down, buddy. Dad's a garbage disposal, or he's not a dad. That's a fact.
It's a true story. They were jalapeno hot dogs.
I know you told me that story before.
They were in regular wrappers, though. We had no idea. Right. And for the longest time,
shut up and eat your jalapenos. Poor kids. Anyway, it's wet, isn't it? Drink it.
Yeah, so it was
good times.
Anyway, in the Arizona division of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, they have a weird venomous creature.
A Gila monster, right?
Is that what that's called? Hold on.
I don't know. I thought they were only native to Australia. But
well, hey, look,
I know.
Species come from around the world. We've got amazing. What are they?
Biodiversity.
Biodiversity now in the Everglades because of snakes.
Wouldn't that be a fun job? Hunting pythons in the Everglades.
Yeah,
guys do it. There's huge bounties on them right now.
Yeah,
and they hunt them. Yeah,
feral hogs. In Texas, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bearded dragon problem somewhere in the southern United States. Bearded dragons are native to Australia.
Yeah.
But your one of your boys had a bearded dragon.
Yeah.
I've known people with bearded dragons, and I'm just like, these things could probably exist here somewhere if they're given a chance. Yeah. Like goldfish tend to survive pretty well over in Oregon. In fact, they've had to poison entire lake ecosystems to get rid of the goldfish issues because people go, oh, it's my goldfish. I can't keep it anymore. I better go put it in the water.
You know that little tunnel you ride your bike through?
Yeah.
There's goldfish in there.
Really?
Lots of them. Just go downstream because just downstream between the hotel and the restaurant, big pools, lots of goldfish. Lots of goldfish.
This just breaks my heart. Anyway.
The kids like them. We throw rocks at
them. I mean, you throw bread to them. Anyway.
No, they're rocks.
Oh, they eat rocks. Okay.
We don't hit them.
It doesn't say what the animal's name is
rocks.
here.
They weren't pointy rocks.
Hey, finally, Star Wars binoculars are real. Yes! When I say Star Wars binoculars,
he means Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi Star Wars binoculars, a Star Wars story. In Return of the Jedi, in Empire Strikes Back, he's on the frozen planet and he uses those binoculars.
That's Hoth from Return of the Jedi, or from Empire Strikes Back, not Return of the Jedi.
You just said Return of the Jedi.
Did I? Okay, my bad. It's probably recorded, so if you heard it, that's probably true.
I'm right.
He's probably right.
What were we saying earlier?
Your friends are bigger Star Wars geeks than my friends.
I'm not even... Look, that's not even the point. So anyway, the whole point is not necessarily Star Wars, but they have a contraption you can get to put around the eyes of your binoculars, which help fight the glare issue and things
like that. Keep light from bleeding in. It just looks cool.
Does it aid with fog though?
That's what. Yeah. As soon as you said Star Wars, I think about Hoth and how cold it is, and sometimes you get your face up next to those binoculars, and just the heat from your face frosts them over. But if you had something to keep them a little cozier like that, it's a neat looking addition. I don't know how much they are, but when you come across them, hey, you never know.
So really, we're coming down to the end of our podcast today. So Lit Knox. So we had this conversation come up. It is official, and I found it in our regulation book somewhere around my finger there. And it just says, and I quote, beginning July 1st, 2022, it's legal to use mechanical broadheads. Now, in the equipment for this, it says something about mechanical broadheads with a certain something. Okay, so there's specifics there that I need to look into. I don't know that I'm a big fan of mechanical broadheads. I don't know that it's...
shops, I think the archery shops will tell you what's legal, what's not. And I think the experts on social media will let you know what the best ones are and what they're effective for.
But lighted knocks are intriguing to me because I think it'll help me follow my shot better.
Yeah.
Could hopefully help me find an arrow.
And just
if I miss,
just understanding your shot path, is really important. Yeah, and having that dot is a really, really handy.
So they are in my cart on Amazon. I was actually hoping this week. It's not going to happen. Maybe next week I'm going to go down to our local archery shop and order some arrows. I'm actually going to refletch all the arrows I have.
Okay.
To a different arrow fletch. Because now that I have a fall away
let me know when you go down there. I got a recurve I want to get restrung.
Okay.
So we can mess around with it. I'll just get some cheap arrows.
And I've got to call myself out. My friend who his name is Tracy. I thought he had built a recurve. I clarified with him yesterday. He goes, I did not build a recurve. He built a longbow. So anyway, just in case anybody cares to fact check that. And if you ever meet Tracy, and if you're ever listening, Tracy, anyway, I think that's it. I think we're out of time. I better go before.
If Tracy's listening, I bet he'll give us a thumbs down. Tracy, if that's you, just junk, buddy. Anyway, I'll take it as a thumbs up from him. If he made it this far, I'll take a thumbs down as a thumbs up.
There's so many more ways my mind went with that, but I'm not going to expand.
Thank you.
Anyway,
have a great week. We'll see you back here next week.
Be well. Stay awesome.
Goodbye.